He's always after money. That is the bottom line. The man is laser focused on money. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. My house guests, welcome. Wherever I am, you are welcome. Today I'm in a hotel room because I have some meetings coming up in the next few days. So guys, grab yourselves a drink, make yourselves comfortable. If you're passing by and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. Why does Andrew Windsor keep making the same mistakes? Unless you're an avid Andrew fan, I think we can all agree that he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. This article is from theguardian.com, published on the 13th of December 2024, and the headline reads, Prince Andrew says he ceased all contact with alleged Chinese spy after government advice. Statement from the Duke of York says he met the businessman through official channels and nothing of a sensitive nature ever discussed. The businessman, described as a close confidant of Andrew, lost an appeal over a decision to bar him from entering the UK on national security grounds. The man, known only as H6, brought a case to the Special Immigration Appeals Commission after then Home Secretary Suella Braverman said he should be excluded from the UK in March 2023. Judges were told that in a briefing for the Home Secretary in July 2023, officials claimed H6 had been in a position to generate relationships between prominent UK figures and senior Chinese officials that could be leveraged for political interference purposes. They also said that H6 had downplayed his relationship with the Chinese state, which, combined with his relationship with Andrew, represented a threat to national security. The Duke of York followed advice from His Majesty's government and ceased all contact with the individual after concerns were raised, the statement said. The Duke met the individual through official channels with nothing of a sensitive nature ever discussed. He is unable to comment further on matters relating to national security. Despite being born into one of the wealthiest families in the world, greedy, grubby Andrew always wants more. He craves rewards, but shuns responsibilities. I don't know of any other sexagenarian who has been financially supported by a parent or an older sibling. His sense of entitlement and disdain for those in the lower echelons of society are what make him, for me, a truly unlikable character. He's only sorry once his behind-the-scenes shenanigans have been discovered, at which point he decides to distance himself from the awkwardness, not voluntarily, but only because he was advised to do so. Sarah Ferguson has said in the past that charity work made her a better mother. So I understand now why, since Andrew was stripped of his royal patronages and military affiliations in 2022, she has said she's tried to encourage him to get involved in his own charity work. However, the encouragement clearly hasn't been received well, because that is not where Andrew Windsor's heart lies, because Andrew Windsor is not a charitable person. Speaking of charitable people, this week also saw the release of Polo on Netflix, a 5-part documentary executive produced by Harry and Meghan, exploring the world of the elite equestrian sport, polo. This article is from people.com, published on the 10th of December 2024. It's a fairly lengthy article, so I'm not going to read all of it, and I apologise in advance for any mispronunciations of names. The headline reads, "Inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's vision for Netflix's Polo, they were extremely hands-on." Showrunner Miloš Balach tells people that the Duchess of Sussex's love for tailgating at a polo match sparked a lightbulb moment, shaping the inspiration behind the series. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were totally focused on bringing the world of polo to Netflix with their new documentary series, Polo. The show's executive producer and showrunner Miloš Balach says, "Polo premieres on Netflix on December 10th, taking viewers into what's nicknamed the Sport of Kings across 5 episodes. The series follows elite global players as they saddle up in Wellington, Florida for the US Open Polo Championship, pulling back the curtain on the glamorous equestrian sport and the grit necessary for success." Avid polo player Prince Harry 40 and Meghan 43 served as executive producers on the project from their Archwell Productions company and Boardwalk Pictures. Balak tells people that the couple had a true vision for bringing it all together. "They were wonderful. They were extremely hands-on," the showrunner exclusively tells people. "They really had a vision for trying to get polo to be accessible to a wider audience. Prince Harry knows the sport inside and out. To be able to have him as someone to bounce ideas off of, and then also to get notes from, maybe if you edit it like this, the polo will feel even more exciting, or you got to make sure that the point is played out like this, because that's how you keep it factually accurate," Balak says. To have a polo expert in-house with him was so special. "I think a lot of projects have EPs that can give great notes, but it's rare that you have someone who's truly an expert in the subject you are documenting." The Duke of Sussex has played polo for years and saddles up annually for the Centrevale Polo Cup, his charity's flagship fundraiser. Balak tells people that Prince Harry hoped, as the larger team did, to bring in Adolfo Amparato's Cambiaso, a father and son set of polo stars. Adolfo is esteemed as one of the best polo players of all time, while his 17-year-old son is an emerging talent. "I think his hope from very early on, which was all of our hopes, is that the Cambiasos would be interested and willing to participate because of how much they mean in this world and to the sport and how much they've contributed as a whole," Balak says. On top of that, just having the incredible story that they have as a father and son duo that have played side by side for so long and were finally playing against each other. So it was definitely early on. It was like, let's try and get the Cambiasos. It was something he put on my to-do list, and we were able to do it, so that was a great payoff. The Duchess of Sussex, meanwhile, has been a supportive spouse and her husband's #1 supporter at his polo matches through the years. Balak says that Meghan wanted polo to capture the welcoming energy of the sideline scene, a little-known aspect of the game. "I think I spoke to them before I ever went to a polo match, and it was Meghan who really prepped me for how wonderfully casual polo can be." Balak tells people about the Duchess of Sussex's specific idea for the series. Sunday polo on Field 1 at the US Polo Centre is a big to-do, where people have champagne brunches and come with their beautiful outfits, but the rest of the week, every polo match is actually so down to earth. It's a lot of people pulling up in their pickup trucks and their cowboy boots, if not barefoot, with their dogs and their families and their kids to watch the game that they love, Balak tells people. They're there not to see and be seen, but to enjoy the sport that they really care about, and people show up for that free. And you just pull up, and she said that's what she loves. She also loves tailgating at a polo match, and that just sort of set a light bulb in my head, where I was like, oh, this world is really not going to be what I think it is, in a good way, the showrunner continues, and we were able to then dig deeper into all the ways that it isn't what people assume it is. The article then goes on to talk about Harry's very close friend Nacho Figueras, a fellow polo player and an ambassador for M0i, and how they travel together to play the charity matches, and also his involvement in the project for the Netflix series. Working with them, the Sussexes, was definitely special. I think they were amazing collaborators that brought so much energy and passion to the project as a whole. Polo is one of Prince Harry's greatest passions. It seems that Meghan has adopted it as one of hers too, just in terms of being his partner, Alex tells People. She also loves the sport, and it was really fun to talk to her about what she loves about it. And Harry comes at it from an athlete perspective, so it was great to have both of these perspectives to help inform how I would go about sharing this world. On the eve of the premiere of Polo, the showrunner says, "We're just so excited that this series is coming into the world now. We really hope that people fall in love with the cast of characters. At the end of the day, I want people to know that this isn't a typical sports documentary. It's about human stories and finding ways to connect with people you might not otherwise, and along the way fall in love with a sport that you know nothing about. So I just hope people give it a watch and love what they see." Although I've only had the opportunity to watch the first episode so far, I love the way it's been produced because Harry and Meghan have not featured heavily, but have given others the space to express themselves, and how polo plays a part in the lives of individuals and their families. As the mother of a child who plays a so-called elite sport, the pushy parent-resistant teenager dynamic is something I've seen all too often.
Really a tough break there for Duda. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to best Park Place here in this first game of the U.S. Open.
Tough loss, definitely for us, and and obviously it's my first game. The switch with me in number one position. I really needed the few chuggers to get back in rhythm.
Good job, baby girl. You tried.
My dad doesn't get after me from like a son perspective. He gets after me from like a player perspective. He demands nothing but the best. Here's your chance. Now get the job done. So I'm always grateful for the opportunities that he gives me.
What I see, what I feel is what he hears. Sometimes Susie feels that's too direct, but so be it. He has big goals and we have big expectations together. So every day we have to move forward. Otherwise, you're not going to get there.
We play Clearwater on Sunday. Probably the most important game for us the entire season. We already lost against Park Place. Have to win this game no matter what.
To play the United States Open Championships is an honor and it's a dream. Right now, we're trying to win our first. What's going on? Shika is coming into town? News to me. Timmy is extremely charming and his looks are what they are. He doesn't have to worry about girls.
Score the goals.
Unfortunately, these girls take a lot of time out of you. They don't understand that you've got to focus and it's a distraction. I hope he's focused on Sunday.
Yeah, he will.
Now, as usual, the British press put their negative mouth on the project. But listen to what Daily Diaries Friday said. King Charles was reportedly giving Harry $700,000 a year to fund his lifestyle. Don't forget, for Meghan, Charles said there is no money for her. Harry and Meghan's deal, even if it ends as the Rangers want it to, was a reported $100 million deal. It would have taken Harry more than 100 years to make $100 million if he was still getting money from Charles. Think about that when you hear British media claim Harry and Meghan have failed. I believe if the same project were undertaken by William or Charles, who have played the same sport, I can almost guarantee that it would not have been referred to as the world's stupidest sport, and the reaction to a potentially bad production would have been favourable because of its non-association with Harry and Meghan. I say potentially bad production because such a project would be completely unrelatable to the vast majority of the UK public, and the royal family do not want you to have access to something deemed exclusive. Personally, I found the documentary Polo very aspirational, and it was interesting to see the degree to which people had the opportunity to be very honest about the highs and lows of the sport and the affluent lifestyle associated with it. The Sussexes leveraging the sport to use it as a vehicle to raise funds for their philanthropic endeavours can only be a good thing. And the fact that these high-flying polo players and their families would trust Harry and Meghan enough to produce the series shows how much the Sussexes are respected and taken seriously. Okay guys, so I started off with Andrew Windsor to show you how ridiculous people think in this country. When I say people, I'm mainly talking about media types, tabloid journalists. Andrew finds himself again in a position where he's denying all knowledge of an association. He's always after money. That is the bottom line. The man is laser focused on money. And it still astounds me that as a 60-odd-year-old man, he's dependent on his older brother. I think that arrangement has come to an end. Previously, his mother was supporting him financially. Not willing to do charity work. Very bitter. Can't get his foothold in something that he wants to do. Can't stay in the property that he wants to stay in. All at our expense, may I remind you. And this is why I say he is so entitled and he looks down on those who are in the lower echelons of society. We're paying for his lifestyle and he has the audacity to turn his nose up. And this is why I say he's a very unlikable character. The fact is, guys, that he's committed a heinous crime. I'm fed up of this allegedly thing, because really, if there's no smoke without fire, as they say. But for the purposes of this video, I'll say allegedly he's interfered with minors. That alone should make him stop and think, but he's so unaware. And it almost seems to me that if he unthinkably were to take someone's life, that would be swept under the carpet as well, because there is no accountability when it comes to Andrew Windsor. He's done more to disgrace the royal family, in my humble opinion, than anyone in my living memory. He's done more to disgrace them, but Harry and Meghan always get the brunt of the vilification. These journalists haven't watched that Netflix documentary just to see how interesting it is, because I would almost guarantee that the majority of them haven't watched it. Just the fact that Harry and Meghan are executive producers is enough to send these guys into a frenzy. Because how are you going to call it the world's stupidest sport when you've never said that when William and Charles have played? So if it applies to Harry, it has to apply to William and Charles. So then Charles and William play the stupidest sport in the world. And at the end of the day, none of the community that are in this documentary, none of the members, none of the characters that you see in this documentary care. They could care less what the British tabloids think of them. And like Daily Diaries Friday said, the deal is worth $100 million. Let me remind you once again, if you've never heard it before, let me tell you, Harry and Meghan are not taking money from UK taxpayers. They are financially independent of UK taxpayers. UK taxpayers are not funding their lifestyle. So why should it concern these so-called journalists what they're doing? And if they actually took time to watch, they would see it's not just about polo, it's not just about the sport. They talk about tennis, you know, people have said to me, oh, you know, how can people play tennis? It's such a boring game. I mean, if you don't know, if you're not involved, you will think that, but there's so much more to it. You don't see what goes on behind the scenes. And I say tennis because that's what my daughter plays. She's been playing since she was 5 and she'll be 22 soon. She's the captain of her university team and she takes it very seriously, and it's afforded her a lifestyle that has gone far beyond my expectations. Far beyond my expectations. The sacrifices that her dad and I have had to make has all been worth it. Because I never wanted her to be an average child, but I didn't know this was what she was going to be doing, because none of us, my family, her dad's family, none of us play tennis. So I really don't know where she got that from. But the point is, when you talk about a sport, what they term an elite sport, there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes. It's not just the glitz and glam that you're presented with. There's so much more that goes on. And I'm very much looking forward to watching the rest of the documentary, because it kind of is a bit of escapism for me. Glamorous escapism. So I'll be sat there with my cup of tea watching the next few episodes. Harry and Meghan are not here to shove themselves in your face as far as I'm concerned, because in the first episode, I think you only saw 3 seconds of Harry, and that was it. It's not all about them, because you'll see characters develop. There are characters that I'm already getting to know, and this is the first episode. I'm like, oh, that's quite interesting. I need to see what happens in the next one. But yet again, guys, Harry and Meghan cannot do right for doing wrong. But you know what? They still don't care. That's the bottom line. Meghan's still out enjoying herself, meeting her friends, going for lunch, going for dinner. You know, she doesn't care. And I always say, if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. Because really, if you're not a remarkable person, no one will take any notice of you. So let them continue to talk. And if you have haters in your life, guys, don't wish them away. Let them be your motivation to do even better, especially going into 2025. Let your haters be your motivation. I certainly am, and I know I have a lot. And before I go, I just want to let you know that you may or may not see my daughter in the next few videos, because I'm picking her up. The day this video uploads, I'm picking her up from Heathrow. She's coming back for Christmas. So I'm really looking forward to that, guys. You don't even know. The last time I saw her was in New York in August, for those of you who've been on the channel for that length of time. So guys, if your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you shall catch me in the next video.